Erik Sondergaard here with Armstrong, Architectural Specialties Installation Manager. Today we're going to talk about Armstrong WOODWORKS VECTOR ceiling panels. Right here is a 2x2 VECTOR ceiling panel that is perforated without fleece on the back side of it. And then here is a solid one. VECTOR panels are made to be supported from heavy-duty 15/16 Prelude grid on two sides only. The other two sides are unsupported edges of those panels. Today we're going to talk about how to handle situations like this when you have panels only supported on two opposite edges. All right, I don't know can you notice that there's a double step in this? This is the A edge of the panel. This is the first side of the panel that will get engaged onto the flange of the Prelude grid, and it will be able to slide all the way over in order to level off the panel with the ceiling, shift it back the opposite direction to fully engage it on the grid. And then can you notice on this one where there's only a single cut on this one? So this is the B edge. When the panel is fully installed, the Prelude flange will be all the way tucked in on that B edge to dictate exactly where it needs to stop in the grid so it can create a 1/4 inch gap from panel to panel. Another thing to keep in mind is, see these pre-drilled holes that are on the back of your WOODWORKS VECTOR ceiling panels? They'll be always closer to an A or B edge. They're for these safety clips that come with the panel with the screws. And you just line it up over the hole and put the screw in there, so then you end up having safety brackets like this mounted on your wood ceiling panel. And if you notice, they are offset too, so then when this panel's next to this panel, these two are not hitting each other. It's important that you make sure your humidity levels on the job site are 25 to 55% before you start installing your wood. These meters will help you know what your readings are in that area before you start installing. It must maintain those levels for the life of the install. So measuring for your VECTOR border panels, you want to take your tape measure and butt it to the very back of the leg, if it's the back leg of the shadow or the wall, and you want to measure to the flange of the Prelude grid plus 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to cut these panels at 11 inches. So I'm going to cut that panel that I just took a measurement for, and what I'm doing is I'm actually going to keep the B side of my VECTOR tile and cut off the A side. So I set up my table saw to cut 11 inches. I'm going to cut this panel and then we can go ahead and install it. Just take the panel, rest the cut edge on top of the wall angle, push the safety spring back, slide the panel onto the grid on the B edge until it's all the way tight. Once you have it tight, then you want to put one of these border springs behind the panel. So now I'm going to put this corner tile in. Typically I like to do these first, but since this tile was right next to a main and I can't move that anyways, this is the T I would have to use or to move out of the way to engage this. So I actually loosened up this T to move it, give me a little bit more room to get this panel in. Then just put the T back and put the screw back in once that corner tile is in there. So now these panels, in order to keep the grain going all the same direction, we have to keep an A and a B edge. So this is the A edge and this is the B edge. So it helps to have a T that we can move to help engage these tiles, especially since we have to get it on the lip of the wall angle as well. So in order to get this panel in, and I have this grid attached and this one's already in, I'm gonna have to remove this clip. So now I can slide this cross T out of the way to engage this ceiling tile, ceiling panel. And once that's back, put the cross T back with the screw. And then take your border spring and put it in there. To keep your wood uptight against the grid. Installing these panels to the axiom. These are going to be the same as the back panels since the wood grain's going the same direction. So I cut off the A edge and I'm keeping the B edge. So the other piece to these panels, when they're being engaged on the A and B edge, you need to include a 2-foot stabilizer bar. But as you can tell, you start getting into these smaller borders, there's really not a lot of room for this. So instead of using the 2-foot stabilizer bar, you can actually use this clip, which is a Burke 2 clip, on every grid member, and then you don't need a 2-foot stabilizer bar because your grid would be solidly attached at that location and it won't be able to slide over to disengage the panel. Okay, these are the hold down clips for Vector. They snap right over the bulb of the grid, only on the A and B sides of the panel. These clips typically will go in after the borders are put in and before the full panels to go in. You can put these in before on the whole install if you would like, but you can snap them on after the panel's installed or before the panel's installed. So you put the panel in, line it up, push up on the hold down spring, and the panel's seated. So when you're installing the borders on WOODWORKS Vector, we highly recommend permanently attaching them so they do not move, shift, or possibly even fall out of the ceiling at some point in time. This is a MBAC clip. So if you can just take that, slide it over the grid, then take a screw gun and screw it to the back side of the wood. That will make sure that your wood will not come disengaged and fall out of the ceiling. When you use this MBAC clip, it will replace the safety clip along with the 442 hold down clip, only at the perimeters. Okay, so the trim options for the Vector, WOODWORKS Vector panel is Axiom Vector Trim. So this is, you can use 4-inch, 6-inch up from that. This is a 6-inch inverted Vector trim. Now, the reason why this is a Vector trim is because this was designed for full-size tiles or cut tiles. So when you have a full-size tile cloud, you're going to see a 1/4-inch gap in here just like that around the whole perimeter where the axiom meets your panels. But this is only for full-size tiles, okay? If you have any cut tiles in there whatsoever, that's when you have to take the axiom and invert it to use the inverted edge of it so you can rest your cut edge on the axiom and it will not be visible. When you attach it with the clip, if you're going to use any cut panels, so if you're going to use the axiom like this and you're going to use any cut panels for this situation, this clip needs to be cut. This is an axiom vector T-bar clip. See that score mark on it? Right now it is set for 3/8 of an inch grid raise. We need to go 1/2 of an inch. So that score mark, if I cut it off, that will work for my WOODWORKS Vector panels. So now when I attach my grid to this and engage it into the trim, it will be held 1/2 of an inch up from the flange of the trim for my cut wood panel to sit onto. And don't ever forget, this is an awesome product if you would like this curved as well. All right, another option for cutting your vector wood panels into the wall angle is using a vector border clip. You can make sure it is a vector border clip and not a tegular border clip. It either has a V scribed into the face of it or it will have a T for tegular. So V for vector. If you wanted to rest your grid on the bottom flange of the wall angle and actually cut your vector panel to the front edge of the actual wall angle, that's what this clip would be used for. So the clip gets installed on the back of the panel like this with a screw in there. The clip and screw is provided with the panels when you order them. And then when you engage it, it will just rest on the wall angle like this. Most of the time, this is not really feasible just due to the wall angle will not be perfectly straight enough for you to get a nice clean straight cut on your wood using a table saw or a circular saw to make this clean enough. I would always recommend hiding your cut edge on the actual flange of the wall angle. That way when there is any movement whatsoever, the cut edge will always be hidden by the flange of the wall angle. A couple infill options too. We can use the bagged fiberglass above this, above your perforated vector panels. You're never going to see the shininess of the plastic, so this is fine for it. Or you can actually use a bioacoustical infill pad for it. The last thing to remember is with all our wood products, we have touch-up kits. It comes with a stain marker and a wax stick for doing any touch-ups that you need on the job site. Thank you for watching this video. To learn more about WOODWORKS products from Armstrong, please visit armstrongceilings.com/woodworks.